please stand and join us in a pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to the roll call. Ms. Palacios.
Governing Board President Denise Reese.
Present.
Governing Board Clerk Dr. John Sparks.
Present.
Governing Board Member Anthony Bruno.
Present.
Governing Board Member Raul Rodriguez.
Present.
Governing Board Member Amy Petersmark.
Present.
District Administration Superintendent Dr. Manuel Valenzuela.
Present.
Chief Financial Officer Ms. Lisette Huey, absent. Assistant Superintendent Darlene Robinson, absent. Assistant Superintendent Scott Downs.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will move on to the approval of the agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, Madam President Reese, members of the board, at this time I do recommend approval of the revised agenda as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on to the approval of the minutes. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. In your packet, you have draft copies of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the board way back on November 12th. And after your review and consideration, I once again recommend approval as presented.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Oops.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We'll move on into the superintendent reports. Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. Just a couple of things to share. You know, this is the time of year where there's almost so much going on that it's a blur. You can hear some music going on in the background. I know we've experienced several of those. Second season athletics is in full swing. This is one I wanted to share. I had the opportunity yesterday to read to a group of 3- and 4-year-olds at our Link preschool program. And I'll tell you what, there's nothing like the perspective of 3- and 4-year-olds to remind you about the holiday spirit. And it was a real treat, and I'm grateful for Ms. Kirby for the invitation to go and interact with these young people. They are amazing, and I have no doubt they'll be ready for kindergarten next year. I also just wanted to share with the board that I received a letter today from the Pima Community College Foundation. We, in partnership with Freeport-McMoran and our greater Sahuarita community, have raised funds and started a scholarship fund called the Pima First Sahuarita Win Scholarship. And the goal is really to provide students with an opportunity to go to Pima for 2 years tuition free. And so that they can get those 2 years done without debt, or at least not tuition debt. And we did a matching grant with the Pima Foundation, and I got a letter that the first cadre of folks who have gone through that for last year, we had 30 students, and they're studying things from cybersecurity, computer science, business, engineering, performing arts, CTE, welding, health professions. And I think it just exemplifies that uniqueness and that spirit of community that we have here toward doing right by service to our students and opening doors of opportunity and success. So busy days. I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, hope, peace, joy, love, everything that represents the spirit of this season. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the governing board reports. Dr. Sparks.
Thank you very much. I think I agree this is a very busy time of year. And I can't determine if the time between Thanksgiving and Christmas gets just shorter every year, because that's what I think is happening. I think there's really just less days, at least it feels like it. But I'm busy and concerts and lots of stuff.
It couldn't be that you're getting older, could it be, Dr.?
It couldn't be anything like that. I'm clearly 29 still, but it's probably that. So, but I think just a great time to be around, and I would like to take the opportunity to thank Dr. Valenzuela. Happy Hanukkah and Merry Christmas, and I hope you get to spend time with family and loved ones in this time of kind of connection and reunion with family, and spend a little time down from the pressures and rigors of school life. So thank you for being here tonight.
Perfect. All right. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to wish everybody a warm, wonderful, and safe Christmas and New Year's. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Bruno?
The school district has many partners within and outside of the community. I had the opportunity to follow a group of youth from Anza as they presented to the Sahuarita Town Council earlier this week. These were some of our younger students. It was very impressive. They knew the pledge and they carried on a great conversation with everyone and represented the district very well. And so I was very pleased to be able to do that.
Great, thank you very much. Ms. Petersmark?
So many things to talk about, just picking a couple really quickly. Thank you to Mr. D'Souza. I don't think I see him here tonight for hosting us for our lunch. It was amazing to go to Anza and see all the students, and it was so fun to see them yelling, Mr. D, and we, it was so cute. Had a great visit. Thank you to Mrs. Jackson for allowing me to watch her class and her reading group. It was so fun, and they were so excited just to chat about everything that was going on. So that was just a wonderful day. Thank you to everybody, and she's an amazing teacher. I also wanted to thank everyone at Walden. Ms. Delos is there. We had so much fun at the dance. Thank you to Mr. Garcia, the 2028 class sponsor, the class officers, Stuco, and all the parents that helped to set up the dance. I've never seen so many students dancing. The whole gym floor was full. It was amazing. Everybody had a really great time. So thank you to everyone. Thank you, ma'am, also for allowing us to do that. It was so much fun. So again, just a couple of things, but so many great things going on. And thank everybody for every single one of you for all you do. Students, really appreciate it. Just like everybody said, I hope everyone has a wonderful Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and be safe. And
Thank you. So for mine tonight, I actually want to put a big shout out to Sopri. For those of you who aren't familiar with that school that is located in the Amato area, they do a huge Thanksgiving celebration every year just before Thanksgiving. And it was so neat this year to go down and spend the time with those students and actually with a lot of the leadership from within the district. It was really neat to see so many people down there. So very much for the invite. We always enjoy that event very much. If you get a chance to catch a concert or a soccer game or a wrestling match or a basketball game, please do. Our students do know when we're in this. It is super exciting to see parents and staff and faculty and siblings and cousins and everybody else in those stands. So if you get an opportunity to catch one of those, that would be fantastic. And much the same, please enjoy your holidays, safe and happy holidays, everyone. So with that, we'll move on to the recognition of community staff and students, starting with our staff member, Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. I think you'd agree every month, this is one of our favorite times of the meeting, the chance to say thank you and recognize people for the amazing contributions that they make to our very important mission of student success. And I think with the holiday season, it just adds an extra dimension to that gratitude and that appreciation to people for the service they give to others. And I guess it looks like we're going to begin with the support staff team member of the month, Mr. Downs, if you could
Yes.
do the honors.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam President, board members, and members of the public. It is my pleasure to read this nomination from Mrs. Lisa De La Osa, principal of Walden Grove High School. Mrs. De La Osa has nominated Elsa Segundo as the Sahuarita Unified School District Support Staff Member of the Month. Mrs. De La Osa says she would like to recognize our campus monitor, Elsa Segundo. She consistently goes above and beyond to support our school community. She never hesitates to step in to address the needs of the campus, often taking the lead in her department without needing direction. Her dedication extends beyond the school day, as she also helps supervise at athletic events and dances, ensuring student safety and success at every level. In addition, she has trained others in the department, sharing her knowledge and building our strong team. She is truly an asset to our school, and we are grateful for her leadership, commitment, and positive impact. Again, I just lost my place. Mrs. Elsa Segundo as the Employee of the Month for Walden Grove High School.
Madam President, are we ready to move on to the
We
volunteers?
are ready for volunteers.
Well, it would be my pleasure. It's been said that to be fully human, one must serve. And I think our volunteers exemplify that ideal at the highest level and make a tremendous impact on our ability to advance our mission of student success. And in that focus, I think for about a year or more, we've been doing this Volunteer of the Year from the different schools. And to tell us about our latest honoree, Mr. Downs, once again, sir.
Rosemary is familiar and cherished face on our campus, lighting up every room she enters with her warm smile and kind spirit. For the past 4 years, she has volunteered with our English language learners, helping students build fluency in English vocabulary, reading, and writing. Her dedication extends far beyond the classroom. She has supported the book fairs, after-school events, Tortoise Garden, and Reading Seed program through Literacy Connections. Last year, she faithfully joined our walking club each morning, counting student laps, and handing out prizes with contagious enthusiasm. No matter the task, Rosemary approaches everything with joy, compassion, and a can-do attitude. She is truly passionate about making a difference in the lives of our students and plays a key role in shaping the positive culture and climate of our school. We are incredibly grateful for all she does and blessed to have her as part of the Ridge family. Again, Rosemary Kleinman as Volunteer of the Year for Wrightson Ridge School.
Yay. I like Rosemary's shirt. It says, "I'm not getting old, I'm just a legend."
Now we will move on to our December leaders and characters. Dr. Valenzuela.
Thank you, President Reese. Once again, one of our favorite times each month at every meeting where we have this on the, I never see to be affirmed, encouraged, and just very positive about the future of our community, the future of our society, the future of our country, because character and citizenship matter, and we believe that it's a vital part of the learning process. And so we honor you. We say thank you for the example you set around your school and for the great things that you'll continue to do as you continue to grow and develop in your own character and in your own citizenship. We also say thank you to mom, dad, nana, tata, your aunts, uncles, everybody in your world that has modeled and communicated to you that your citizenship matters, that your character counts, and that it will help you to truly be the best that you can be. So this evening, Mr. Rodriguez is going to present you with a certificate, a letter, and a gift card as a token of the board's appreciation for your leadership around our campus and our community. And I'm telling you, I look forward to seeing the great things you're going to continue to do in school, in the years to come, and even afterwards. We've been doing this now, I think like 15 years, maybe more. And when these students come back and we see them go to college and get jobs and do amazing things all across the country, it makes us very proud, right? So let's recognize this month's honorees, our leader in character, beginning with Sopri. And I forgot to say, when your name is called, please carefully but proudly walk down, receive your award, and Mr. Downs is over there on the steps so that Ms. Woods can take your picture and we can get it to the newspaper because they're one of our sponsors along with Freeport McMoran. So here we go. Beginning as we usually do with Sopri Elementary School, our leader in character is second grader Samuel Alvarez. Samuel, congratulations. Samuel was showing me his new Rubik's Cube. It's a style that I've never seen before. He's very good at it. We'll move on to Onza Trail K-8. Our K-8s, we do two, one for the elementary, one for the middle school. So we'll begin with their elementary honoree. Congratulations, Olivette Jarvis. And our middle school honoree from Onza Trail School, their leader in character this month, is 8th grader Joshua Gillespie. Congratulations, Joshua. We're super proud of you. And we'll now move on to our leader in character from Sahuarita Primary School. This student is a kindergartner. Congratulations, Elizabeth Ward. Way to go, Elizabeth. Keep up the good work. And we now move on to Sahuarita Intermediate School, where we are very proud to honor third grader Ella Saldate. Ella. And at Copperview, we have another second grader. I think that's like the third second grader today. Our leader in character from Copperview is Aiden Schilling. Aiden. Way to go. We're moving right along now to our second K-8 school. That would be Wrightson Ridge, where we have again two honorees, beginning with third grader Anna Latorno. Anna. Way to go, Anna. And our second honoree from Wrightson Ridge is a sixth grader. Congratulations, Denzel Oriole. Go, Denzel. Congratulations. And we now move back to this side of the street to SMS, where their leader in character is a seventh grader. Congratulations, Aiden Scher. And we are now moving up to our two traditional high schools, beginning with Sahuarita High School. I noticed that most of the months, both schools seem like they pick seniors for this honor, which I think maybe makes it extra special in their last year. And this month is no exception. Our leader in character from Sahuarita High School is senior Linnea Masterson. Congratulations. And our leader in character from Walden Grove High School, also a senior, is Ariana Gamillo. What? Is she playing? She's a basketball athlete and there's a game. So, like I said, busy days, right? We'll make sure that she receives her award. And we will wrap up this evening's celebration for leaders in character with our leader in character from Sahuarita Digital Pathways Academy. Let's see. And I have to be better than the computer. There it is. And our honoree is a first grader. Congratulations, Charlotte Britton. I don't see Charlotte either. We'll, of course, make sure that that award is properly presented. And go ahead and stand there, and Mrs. Woods is going to take your picture. Good job, Mr. Downs. He did a nice symmetry on the picture. Folks, if you'd like to come down and take your own personal picture for your own Facebook or whatever you'd like to do, come on down. And also, I'll tell you as you're walking, you're more than welcome to stay for the whole meeting, but we understand there's homework and meals and things to do. After this, it's an appropriate time to exit if you wish. Is that Miss Camille's daughter? Yeah. Are they wedding? Twice. How are you, sir? How you doing, sir? Oh, congratulations. Have a good night, everybody. Please drive safely.
Anybody's taller than her.
You got what? And you still got after the meeting, could you know the first kid? Could you see if they're either bringing in or
Oh, you want me?
No.
Take one with me.
It's amazing. Yeah, how could this?
Awesome. Good job. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let's go. Oh, sorry.
Everybody stand by. We'll have Walking in the Wonderland. John Sparks.
Madam President, just so you know, we have no call to the public this evening.
Okay, that was the next thing I was going to ask. So we will, since there is no call to the public this evening, we'll go ahead and skip that on the agenda. So we will move on to item 7, new business, the 2026-27 fee schedule. Dr. Valenzuela.
President Reese, members of the board, first of all, thank you for your patience. You may recall this was a familiar item, and we've been actually working really hard to streamline the fees and make them easier to organize and communicate and not so voluminous. And I want to specifically thank Amber Woods, Lizette Huey, and Darlene Robinson for a lot of the heavy lifting with that. We are allowed by law to charge fees for those items that incur a cost that's above and beyond the standard reasonable expectation in the classroom. For as long as I've been around here, the boards that have sat behind this dais have always been committed to keeping those as absolutely low as possible and consistent. And this year is no example. I can tell you that as you look at those numbers, there's very little change other than perhaps it's a little bit small. I mean, it's a little bit because we've compressed certain categories of classes that really fit under the same category, tried to make them as consistent as possible and not have as much variance just for the sake of, for example, school variances. We synthesized some of those things and established a kind of an equilibrium balanced number. So as you can tell, not much significant change from prior year. It might seem a little early to see numbers like 26, 27, but I believe as soon as we come back from the holiday break, it's time to start going for, and our high school administrators are here, it's time to start going for planning and registering for the subsequent school year. So your approval is required so that the fees can be put on the schedule of classes and the registration papers. And so I would recommend the board's approval of the fee schedule for 26, 27 as proposed.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam President, I just appreciate the continual effort to keep the fees as low as possible. I mean, it's, I know I look across the county and there are places that have significantly higher fees. So
Yes, sir.
we appreciate it.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to item 8, the GMP for Walden Grove High School parking lot. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, President Reese, members of the board and public. Over the course of the last couple of years since we passed our latest bond package, you've heard me talk about how seriously, well, first of all, how grateful we are for the community's trust and the importance of honoring that community trust in everything that we do. On a really exciting note, Mr. Downs has informed me that he and the core construction team and the Swaim architect team are poised and ready in the spring to launch the construction of our new Performing Arts Center, which is about a 500-seat center that will expand our capacity in the performing arts, which, as we know, is an integral part of our educational offerings. It's supported strongly from our community through the local override, and we believe that these things make for great education, and we value them. So that's super exciting. The piece that presented itself to us is not only that as we grow that we need more parking spaces, but that if you look at where this particular structure is going to be constructed, it's currently a dirt lot where a lot of students currently park at Walden Grove High School. And so we obviously wanted to promote a seamless transition to the construction process so that it's minimally disruptive to the students and staff there. And in light of needing space anyway, we identified land which is under the district's control, of which we have control over south of the athletics complex and the stadium, near like where we park for graduation. And so what we're going to do is build 164 new parking spots where our students will be able to go. It's a little longer walk, but it will be paved, striped, it'll be up to code specs, lit, everything. And so Scott's been working with Core Construction and Swaim, and they presented us a GMP for $720,329.28. And I would recommend your approval of this GMP at this time so Scott and his team could hit the ground running and get it done.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Dr. Sparks?
I have a question. I think maybe Scott, you can help me with this. So when I look at the map and where this parking lot's going to go, if I understand it's across the street, so to the south of the current student parking lot, kind of where the turn is, where you go either straight into the sports facilities or left into the main parking lot area, kind of on the other side of the road there. Is that correct?
Yes, but just a little bit east of that, if you think just south of the football field.
So just south of the football field?
Yep.
So, 'cause I know right now, I'm just maybe just curious, you don't have to tell me tonight, maybe you could, I just want to follow up on it. I know the D.R. Horton community is offloading significantly more water onto our property than it should have, and was not designed. There's a blockage there. I mean, I've seen that channel going in the rain, which is way more water than it was designed, and it's clearly a miscalculation, misbuild, misredirection, and I know that's being worked out, I think. Does this parking lot impact that drainage issue?
No, and in fact, it won't touch it at all, and we're working on that right now. Swayman Associates is just done with the water design,
Okay.
and where you originally thought the parking lot was going to go just south of the school, that's where the water flow was actually should have gone. So they're designing that now, and we'll have core construction come in and kind of redo those channels so it goes west, and then it'll turn right underneath the huge culverts and go down the west side of the school.
So my next question, and this is in that same area, I'm assuming that the county and D.R. Horton, who built that facility and offloaded that water inappropriately, is helping to design and pay for that, or are we taking on that ourselves?
They are not doing that right now because the Pima County has determined that there was no fault on their side. And during the design of Walden Grove, that somehow we should have caught it. And so I agree with you.
Even though we
I
built
think-
ours first
Yeah.
and managed
yeah.
the flow?
And it didn't seem to have a lot of watershed then at that point, but we had everybody and their brother out there looking at that and determined that D.R. Horton was not at fault.
Very interesting.
Yes, very,
Thank
very
you.
interesting.
I mean, wasn't a problem until they built that.
I would agree.
subdivision.
I would agree.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's,
But we are excited that your point is
it's
very
not about parking
relevant
lot.
because, and I know this monsoon was kind of defined as going down in history as a relatively modest monsoon, but we've all seen what a real one can be like. And it is a legitimate point that could be a legitimate threat to some of those facilities and their structural integrity and erosion and things like that. So thank you for raising the issue and thank you for making sure it gets taken care of.
Also, if I can mention the $720,329.28, that's all money left over from SFOB on that wing. Through our team, we had some contingency left over, some construction contingency. So I think we delivered a great project, but it was under budget. We had some owner contingency, and SFOB requires you to hold 3% of your project till the very end. And I think they do that to make sure you were able to complete it and you didn't mismanage money, so they always make that safety net. Well, now it's the end of the project. Sometimes you can use that for furniture, and our bond money has paid for furniture for that building. So every penny of this is being built by SFOB, and it's completely legal as long as you build it on that property to enhance that school. It's still okay to do. And some of that money will also be able to help in preparation for the fine arts complex that will be there as well. So we had big machines out there and stuff, so they're going to be doing some other things out there too. So that's great news that none of this is bond money. It's all SFOB.
awesome.
That's fantastic.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Bruno?
not that I'm seeking change with anything, but I'm just curious, were there any plans for gabions to be installed to restrict some of the wear and tear on the ground, as well as retention ponds, or was that not an option?
I'm not sure your question, if we were going to build what?
Gabions?
I'm not sure what that is.
Gabions slow the flow, so there's not as much, God, I'm having a Green Valley moment.
What? Are you talking about for the wash?
Yes.
I have not seen the designs yet. They're still formulating that way. I should probably have it in 2 to 3 weeks and see the design. So as soon as we get that, we'll take a look at it. But I'm sure if they're going to have something to slow the water down a little bit.
Okay.
And then especially to get it to go west and not south onto our property.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Just a
Ms.
comment real
Petersburg.
quick. Thank you, Mr. Downs, so much, and everyone that's worked on this project, because it is a really big thing for the students to drive to school and park. It's so important to them, and I have a sophomore who's driving, and it's like, Mom, this is harder than I thought, but that's a side note. But he's really excited, so this is fantastic that we didn't just say, we're just going to put this building and never mind about, the parking. So thank you so much.
Yeah, the parking lot should start right after Christmas and go right to March. And as soon as it's done, then we'll start on the Fine Arts Center in March.
Fantastic.
And no more parking in the mud.
Yep.
Yeah.
And for buses, no more getting stuck in the mud. We were worried about that during the band competition. We were like, oh, this is looking more and more like a mud derby. So, no, that's great. Fantastic. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on to item 9, and I am going to let Dr. Valenzuela go ahead and make the introduction on that one.
Thank you, President Reese, members of the board. First of all, thank you, because I think it does warrant some kind of background information and context. If you just read the item, letter of opposition to 2026 potential Pima Joint Technical Education District special bond election, besides being a mouthful, it does kind of convey kind of a strong message. And so I'd like to just kind of frame it a little bit. First of all, I just want to say that career and technical education has been, historically was, and continues to be, and will continue to be, I anticipate, an integral part of our education mission. If you look at career and technical education today, and maybe because I'm older than most of y'all, or probably, most of y'all, you remember the days when they used to call it vocational. And it's always been valuable. But I think in this era of rapid change, highly skilled, highly technical demands of the workforce across sectors and across types of work, this is a model of future-ready education. And this is a model of raising the bar for all students. I think of CTE and I look at I think we have 17 programs, I think. It's in the teens. And you see programs that are rigorous, that connect different types of content, that promote the types of skills that are in high demand in the workforce today. So we value CTE, and I just want to say that because when we come back full circle to where we started, I want to convey that optimistically where we agree is we need to continue to invest and work and value and grow strong career and technical education program. So the question, and I actually got this question from a journalist last night, why would you oppose a potential election that hasn't even been called yet? And so in answer to that question, and just to kind of describe recent events, about a month ago, the superintendent and CEO, my colleague from the Pima JTED, invited myself, all the other superintendents in Pima County, and our respective CFOs. So Lisette and Mrs. Huey and I went to the meeting, as we interact with them a lot because our programs intersect. And what we heard about as part of that conversation was a potential bond election county-wide of very large magnitude, like $300 million. It's in the hundreds of million. I heard 300 million. I believe that's accurate. And they talked about doing it soon, like calling for the election in April or May, like this spring, and then putting it on the fall election. And the other thing that when we received this information raised a level of question and concern is that although it was clear and it was said that they've had only preliminary talks with their board, that They haven't called for anything. It was pretty clear that it was a big countywide bond and that the lion's share, for lack of a better term, of the money would go toward enhancements and construction and investments in what are called central campus programs. So 80% is and they had two models. One was like 80-20, one was 85-15. But that's kind of how it was presented. That kind of ratio and the overwhelming majority going to these satellite programs. Now, think about Sahuarita, think about our community, and we are not unlike the numbers in all of the Pima County school districts that I've interacted with and heard about. So I think it's pretty well countywide. We have robust CTE programs. In Sahuarita, we have 1,254, when I checked this week, students. So that's neat. Roughly half of our high school population, half of our high school students are taking at least one career and technical education, because career and technical education is future-ready education. So we should celebrate that. 90%. So, I'm sorry, so half of the students take a CTE class, 90% of those. So about 1,160 are taking them at Walden Grove High School, at Sahuarita High School, whether it's law and public safety, construction technology, business, multimedia arts, culinary arts, computer sciences, health profession. They're choosing to take them here. I think it seems logical that if you work after school, you play sports after school, you're in the band after school, you have church activities, it's a nice model because you can take them during the school day. So the other is called a satellite program. These are programs that are run and operated independently by the Joint Technical District, JTED. And these are programs, just to give you an example, that are located at their site and students can choose to go there. So like we have, not very many, but we have a handful of students that sometimes go to the cosmetology program at their Master's Pieces campus, which is their district, their main headquarters. It's on Shannon Road and River in Tucson. So in addition to being a very long drive, it takes more time, but it is specialized. It's a great program. They have a beautiful cosmetology studio. It looks like a regular professional salon. And these students can get a very valuable education that last time I checked, it like if you go to a private cosmetology studio, it's like $20,000 or more. And they can do that. But it takes that extra time. They have to go 4 or 5 days a week. I just want to put that distinction because the fact is, right now, 90% plus of the students are receiving CTE in their high schools, like 10%. Like I said, we have like 1,160 here and like 90 going to the central campus. So that was concerning. And I mean, my message, and I think it resonates with a lot of the themes that I've heard from the other districts, is that as proposed right now, it seems to raise a reasonable concern about being disconnected from the programmatic reality. It seems skewed. And they're very cordial, and they say that they have waiting lists, that there's demands for those programs. But the fact remains that the majority of the demand is in the schools. So the other thing that I raised was that I really applaud and welcome the opportunity to look at investing in career and technical education. It is quality programming, and together, and I give them credit, we do it together. We've been building really great CTE programs that are producing great results. So with something of this magnitude, it seems to make sense to me that we take our time. And my suggestion was, let's take time and build representatives from all, I think it's 13 or 14 Pima County member districts, school districts. Plus, remember that we have members of the JTED from Santa Cruz County, the Nogales Unified School District and the Santa Cruz 35 District, the Rio Rico. They're in there, and so is Mammoth San Manuel from Pinal County. So let's take a look at these investments, the relationship between satellites and central campus programs, and really address the issues that are there and try and coalesce around a cohesive plan that we can all build, agree upon, and move forward. And in respectful candor, what I heard was that there seems to be a feeling of more timely urgency than that there's a thought that needing to do it, calling for it in the spring, again, I think it's May, for November, is still something that was necessary. And so at that point, presenting some of those considerations, they were very willing to talk about things like how we might be interested in the 20% of the 300 million, but not just us, among all of the districts, the member 14 districts. So again, there was a big difference between central campus, where 10% of the students are, and satellite campus, where 90% of the students are. And I was very candid. They asked if they could meet with us. Sure. We sat down, we had the same conversation, and I kind of made that statement. I said, let's take the opportunity. This is a big thing. Can we work on the issues together and try and take our time to look at what we want as the next generation, as the future of JTED as we continue to grow it, and whatever that looks like in terms of a cohesive plan for maybe a future bond program, let's look at that. But the concept as it sits right now with the 80-20 split and the sense of urgency to do it right now, bottom line is that didn't appear to be prudent and sound reasoning in my mind. And I conveyed that. And I frankly, if I can be so honest, which I always strive to be, I told him, I said, I frankly, I care about this. I think we all care about this. But I said, I frankly, as it sits right now, I don't sense a high level of broad support among the member districts. And I was candid because doing my due diligence, when I heard about this, I had individual conversations with individual board members, and I heard pretty strong and pretty clear that this board, individual members of this board, had concerns. And so I just conveyed in goodwill that information and that desire to keep the conversation going. And again, it was cordial and respectful, but what I heard is that they want to keep talking with us, but that I heard words like potential bond election, next steps being calling for an election in May, things like proposals. So feeling that there was still an openness to move this thing forward and genuinely holding significant professional concerns. I felt it was my duty to bring this to the governing body, the group of elected officials who have the responsibility and the duty to make decisions on behalf of the community on matters of financial impact, matters of major community impact of policy. And so there was a letter that was crafted among the Pima County school superintendents. And basically the letter summarizes these concerns and presented for your consideration this evening. If you approve it, all it does is it states that the potential or proposed or conceptual bond, what's been presented so far, raises concerns to the point where this body is opposed to it at this time. I am hopeful that our continued collaboration will continue to produce momentum that builds high quality, robust, future ready career and technical educations. But at this point, if we have an opportunity to do something and at least take a respectful position on this in regards to this opposition, at least the board conveys clarity about its feelings. And again, those were my summary perspectives. I felt it was my duty to present it to you. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have. And at this point, I would turn it over for your discussion before making a formal recommendation.
President?
Mr. Rodriguez.
Dr. Valenzuela, did they by any chance talk about like what these enhancements would be for? Are they thinking that by making these enhancements, they'd be able to accommodate more students?
That is the perspective. As far as specifics, what the specifics that I heard is more money for JTED, that they have a wait list, and the closest to specific that I heard was completing the bridges, and the other concept that I heard was constructing a new central JTED facility in the vicinity of what I heard was Prince and I-10. That they would move from the facility that they currently have, which is on Master's Pieces, the Master's Pieces campus.
Do they have any projections of student numbers? My understanding is we're going down, correct?
What I heard is that they have currently a wait list of 400. My conversation was that there's, I think, an exciting possibility of really talking about how we can more effectively, at least in my opinion, structure JTED so that it's more seamless and congruent. For example, maybe there are some programs that, because of its cost, parts of it might be good to be central, just because right now we're working on, and we plan to, our goal is to launch next year a new program. We're always building new CTE programs because we do value it. A new program in semiconductor manufacturing. There's thousands of open jobs. The demand from the growing market in Phoenix is tremendous. So we want to meet that need. And we're planning to start a program here on our campus with the first year or two. That's kind of our goal. But yeah, maybe in the future we might need a central hub because that stuff's very expensive, or a program like cosmetology. But we'd like to plan and kind of map out what that looks like. And I presented that, and it was, again, it was a respectful conversation. But what I heard is that in their mind, they're responding to demand. They said they have a wait list of 400 and that they need to grow. However, what I heard was that they felt like limiting themselves to just certain specific programs may not be their only preference. That they, if there's demand, that they might very well look at continuing to build programs or building more programs that are replications of what's happening in the satellite district. So that's the best information I got about the vision and the specificity of their future plans.
I guess ask a more basic question.
Yes, sir.
So the timing you're talking about would bring a vote forward to the community when?
In November of 2026.
And is there an estimated cost to the individual homeowner or to where this bond is coming from?
You mean for the cost of paying for the election? There's, as we know, having run our own bonds, there is a cost. Like when we have a bond, there is a cost that we have to pay. Again, this is a county-wide election, and I would reason that it would be a significant amount of money. I would assume, because of our experiences, that It would be a cost that Pima JTED would incur since it's their election. But I don't know how much it would be.
And so my question actually is, because it's a bond, the taxpayers are going to pay the bond back.
Yes, sir?
And in light of what I do, and I'm going to say I believe that the only way out of poverty is education.
Yes.
And that is my fundamental belief. But I can say that we have seen in the last 6 months calls for assistance, not only from our community, but from Flagstaff, from Yuma, from Chandler, from Scottsdale, from all over the state. People are strapped for cash. And I know when we discuss bonds, we have to take into account our communities. And I would just say that timing is key. And if in fact things continue the way they are, we have gone from 20 calls a day to over 125 a day. I have some concern for those in our community who are already cash strapped. And I think we have to consider that as well. I believe in education with every fiber of my being. But I also feel that we do have to look at what's happening in our community. And I'll say that right up front.
Yes, sir.
Madam President,
Dr. Sparks?
I think now that, I'm going to be pretty direct in open public meeting about my concerns and why I support this letter wholeheartedly. I look around the state right now, and the concept that high schools are growing is still in place, but we know that's not going to last very much longer. And while Vail and Miranda can say, oh, we grew by 1%, the county as a whole dropped. And we know, we've got that, we can see those numbers already. That's kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and I think even third grade is included that. I think fourth is still on kind of the older, higher numbers. But we've seen this, we see student population. This isn't public schools losing people to charters or ESAs or privates. This is child population in the state is dropping and dropping dramatically. And while right now we have schools that are growing at the high school level, our high schools are still growing, our elementary schools are not, our middle schools are staying flat. I try to really put myself in the frame of mind of what the JTED board and who, quite frankly, has been there since the beginning. JTED's only been around since 2006? Seven? It's not very long. She's only the second CEO. And what bulk of the time has been with her, and that board has been pretty stable. So I'm trying to think, what are they thinking? And then I hear things like they want to build another campus at Princeton I-10, less than 2 freeway miles from their current campus. I heard someone said they might think about selling off the Bridges campus. That concerns me highly. And why is there a pressure? Why are we looking at declining enrollment in student population, period, across the state? Why are we building another campus, a new campus, 2 miles on really a less incorporated, less centralized area, and potentially selling off a facility that's brand new that we own? My understanding is JTED owns nothing on that property. It's owned free and clear.
That's my understanding.
My understanding. I may be wrong, but that's my understanding. So I'm highly concerned that maybe JTED's, look to the north a little too much, and they see a little bit of West Mac, or they see EVIT, and they think, oh, big, beautiful career technical education campuses. But there's over 5 million people in the Phoenix metro area, and we're under 1 million still. I know people like to tout the million number, but we're really just below it. So we're not even a fifth the size of Phoenix metro area, and they want to build a $240 million campus on the backs of Pima County, which I agree, Mr. Bruno, that people are strapped right now. They say they have wait lists, but I also, if they say their total wait list number is 400 people, I really want to see what those are for, because they've done a few concerning things. When Centralized Campus built a culinary arts program at Central Campus that really doesn't serve anybody except for the people that live within a mile of that campus. Because we're not going to send people from our, by the way, number 2 in the state culinary arts program that's huge up to Centralized Campus. Neither is Marana, neither is Vail, neither is Tanque Verde, neither is any of the outside districts. Maybe a little from Sunnyside, maybe a little from TUSD, and that doesn't meet that bought when I first I said, no way they have one. Why would they have one of those? Every high school in town basically has a culinary arts program. Why would we build a centralized? Well, we have demand. Well, that demand can only be filled by people who don't have to get bused there, who can take public transit, who can drive, because we're not going to spend the money, because JITA doesn't pay for busing. Although they do pay for some vehicles, right? But you know, they don't cover that, most of that cost. We have to, or the parents of these children have to bear that cost. And so I look at JTED right now, and I do agree. I think maybe lost their way, and that concerns me. So I'm concerned that they want to build when they know population is going to be going down. There's no avoiding that. They cannot get away from that. It is irrefutable. We know population is dropping, and yet they want to build a new campus. For demand that 400 kids is a lot, but 400 kids stretched across the entire county, plus Nogales, plus Santa Cruz County, plus the 2 in Pinal County, that is not a very large number.
Well, and I'm just going to jump in, but when you consider that they're also servicing students until they're 21.
Until
as
they're
well.
21, that a whole nother perspective. So I'm concerned, my biggest concern is what is pressuring them to, in the face of the realities in which we are living, to build and sell, because that's what I hear. When we cut this down to everything else, I want to get a bond, build, and sell. Who is pushing that CEO and that board to sell that property? And I guess my perspective right now in this open forum, I want to know that data. Do we need to do public records requests to see who they've been communicating with? Because this doesn't smell right. This does not make sense. It does not make sense to say, oh, here, districts will give you a small 20%, 15% portion, and we're going to spend all this money so we can sell the one we own. That makes no sense. And this is not, I'm not supportive of JTED, because I am the recipient of vocational education and Vocational Industrial Clubs of America, as we used to call it. And I think they are wonderful programs, and we need them. This has nothing to do with supporting career and technical education. This has everything to do with, we have a board and a CEO who is pushing to get a bond and sell a property. And that we just built. That's beautiful, that we own. That does not make sense to me. So I'm sorry, I'll get off my soapbox, but those are my big concerns, that nothing about this makes sense. Hence, when they're like, oh, why would anybody not be supportive of this? Because we all can see the data, because we all see it in our current districts. Even the districts who grew a tiny bit are saying that ain't going to last much longer, because we know what birth rates are looking like. So I'll get off my high horse, but I am all for signing the letter, and I am all for, as a district, us digging farther and demanding more information from these individuals to determine why. What is really pushing them trying to get a bond on the ballot and get it passed in 11 months. And they're already up on Facebook. Oh, we're looking for insight. I've seen it. You can go look it up right now. Insight on what about a bond? And people are like, oh, we love JTED. Well, I do too. But that doesn't make sense. So, thank you.
Well, with that, at this point, I want to thank you for your thoughtful insights and contributions. I've made a few notes. Thank you. And at this point, I would ask and recommend your approval of Sahuarita Unified School District support for the letter of opposition to the potential JTED bond as shared, and authorizing me as your superintendent and Mrs. Reese as your president to sign on to the letter.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? The only thing that I would like to sort of tag on to this as well is that, you know, especially with the touting of numbers of waiting lists and things like that, I would like to see as to whether or not any of our high school students have ever been waitlisted. I don't know whether any of our administrators would have that just off the cuff, and I'm not asking you to, so breathe. But
Thoughtful question.
yeah, but have any of our students been waitlisted, and what was the reason given? Because specific to our district, with looking at economic factors, with looking at who JTUD is supposed to serve, and again, this is, and making sure that our community knows very wholeheartedly that we are not in any way, shape, or form anti-CTE education, current technical education. I am a product of current technical education. I know Mr. Bruno is a product of current technical education. I know Dr. Sparks is a product of current technical education. The reality of the way that JTUDs have come about with the joint technical districts came about was prudent at the time it came about. They came about as a way to help member districts really truly make sure that they've got the funding that they need in order to run their programs. What I don't want to see is very much along the lines of what Dr. Sparks has indicated, and is to looking at the realities of our demographics, looking at the realities of what they're trying to do in terms of servicing students until they're 21 years old, and a variety of other things. But today's 18-year-olds will be 21 in a couple of years. And so if we've got fourth grade classes that are smaller than ever before, they are going to be 21 in like 15 years. So I don't want to create a situation of where potentially Pima County passes this bond and then we're stuck. And so that's my only addition to the conversation that's already been had.
Thank you, President Reese.
And I think you are a career in technical education.
Yep.
Instructor.
educator. Yes.
Yes,
Just putting that
so
out.
just to point that out, yes, my bachelor's degree was to teach agricultural education in the state of Arizona. Sorry, I can tell I'm getting a little heated with this, so I apologize. Yeah, I am 1,000% behind current technical education. I agree with Dr. Sparks. This smells fishy. So, is there any other comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We will move on. There's no new business for personnel. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Dr. Valenzuela.
Yes, ma'am. As is customary, I have a fairly lengthy list of routine consent matters that are allowed by law to be considered in one comprehensive motion. And at this time, I do recommend approval of the consent agenda in its entirety.
We have a recommendation. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is to discuss possible future agenda considerations. Does any board member have any future agenda considerations they would like to put before the board at this time?
Madam President, just to officially express that I think after the letter is sent and the collection of that information, I would like it to come back and us to continue this conversation further and even, dig farther into seeing, there's got to be something we're not seeing. So I'd like to know more.
Very well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, perfect. Any other agenda considerations? Seeing none, we'll move on. We will establish our next board meeting on January 14th, 2026, here in the district auditorium. Details about the wedding can be found, good grief. Details about the meeting can be found on our website. That's what I get for looking at website and meeting at the same time. The details can be found on our website. And at this point, we do have executive sessions this evening. So we need to suspend this meeting and move into executive session.
Yes, ma'am.
Madam President,
Dr. Sparks.
I will read that. Will we enter into executive session by roll call vote? And so the public knows, from this point on, there will be an executive session and no action will be taken other than to close the meeting after the executive session. Executive sessions, discussions or considerations of record exempt by law for public inspection, including the receipt and discussion of information or testimony that is specifically required to be maintained as confidential by state or federal law, Madam President.
Okay. We will go ahead and move into the roll call vote, to move into executive session. Ms. Palacios?
Governing Board President Denise Reese.
Yes.
Governing Board Clerk Dr. John Sparks.
Yes.
Governing Board Member Raul Rodriguez.
Yes.
Governing Board Member Anthony Bruno.
Yes.
Governing Board Member Amy Petersmark.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Any members of the public or people, individuals who are not needed for the executive session are free to go at this time.